and the number one container to Gunther's World Heavyweight Championship is the most predictable and safe option.
Yeah. And after last week, I think almost the most disappointing option to have picked within that match as well.
Yeah, because we'll get into it. It's Damian Priest, who wasn't booked incredibly strongly going into this because Tom got a pinfall win over him last week. But I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Lugo and DAD. Welcome to the WrestleTalk Podcast review of Monday Night Raw. If you haven't already, please press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe, leave a comment down below with what you thought of this episode and whether, you would want anyone else to be challenging Gunther right now. And sending your chat Gables to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5 before the end of the show. And, look at our chins. Our chins are now exposed to the world because we have moustaches, not beards. But, Luke, my chin, I don't know about you, hasn't seen or experienced fresh air for about 10 years.
It has been a decade plus since my chin has been this bare.
It's flakier than a cornetto. And that's why this podcast is brought to you by Geology.
It certainly does. Use the link in the video description down below. Use the promo code WRESTLE70. Get 70% off your trial set. It is a fabulous skincare service, multi-time award-winning skincare service. You take a little quiz online. We'll talk about this more a little bit. You take a quiz online, and they put together a box for you, send it to your house, and then you can look as fresh as we do here on the WrestleTalk Podcast.
How is it having a chin?
Well, okay, so I
actually
haven't done this yet, but I texted my wife shortly after I'd done it. I can now do this.
I've been doing it too, I'm one giant thumb.
I didn't know that I don't have a chin. Like I don't have. I always thought I've got a pretty strong jawline. No, I don't.
Oh, you've got a chin.
No,
you've got like multiple chins when you
exactly.
push.
I haven't got a strong jawline, but I thought I did have. Turns out I don't. So the beard was actually concealing how weak my jawline is. But it being exposed has now just exposed to the world how weak I am.
No one's saying that. If anything, anyone is going, wow, Luke, and this is genuine, this is a shoot now. Everyone is going, oh, wow, Luke, you're doing Movember. Wow, what a guy you are, Luke. On our company call on Friday, where we both had moustaches. Everyone, and it wasn't a bit. They just started going, oh, yeah, Luke's doing Movember. I can see that. I was like, I'm speaking.
Yeah.
And no one is pointing out that I'm doing Movember.
Ollie's feeling a bit sensitive, everyone, that no one's complimenting his mustache as much as they are mine. So in the comments, let them know how good it looks.
When I did it on Thursday, because that's, peeling back the curtain. When I did it on Thursday, which meant we couldn't record something that we had planned.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a Bobby Lashley reaction video to his debut. But I got too excited and I shaved, because I filmed my news and I shaved. And you were like, oh, now we can't. Mm-hmm. We can't reveal. This is meant to be revealed tomorrow. But yeah, I was on a call with Laurie, and Laurie, made the usual jokes about the mustache. And then at the end of it, he went, yeah, you do look pretty good, though.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes! Because Laurie doesn't give compliments that often.
I would say today it looks so much better than it did. Yeah, because you were doing this yesterday as well. Because Ellis was in the room with us yesterday. We recorded a big 4-hour Patreon podcast, and Ellis was our producer for it. And he said, talking to me, I think you really suit the mustache. It looks really good. It looks really good.
I was right here.
It was like, I'm right here. Why does no one say this about mine? Yesterday, you hadn't shaved the sides of your face, so you were all like stubbly there, which meant that this was not popping as much. So I was like, dude, you need to stay on top of this. I'm shaving this every day.
Yeah, I usually shave every 2 days for the stubble. I didn't realize I had to do that for a close shave. But, I know you... I feel quite patronised by you saying that. Right, let's get into... Oh, you can support us as well over at Movember, at the Just Giving link. Let's get into this main event of this.
You have a very macho-looking mustache, Ollie.
Thank you. I just don't feel like it's genuine now, because I've asked... Before this, I didn't think I was going to just spill my feelings here and just please give me compliments.
Your mustache-shaped tiny violin. I think it looks good.
Damian Priest took on Seth Rollins, Dominik Mysterio, and Sheamus in the main event of last night's Raw, which was recorded on Sunday in Saudi Arabia, Canada. It was the day after Crown Jewel. They just did it there for logistical reasons, which meant we had Corey Graves and Michael Cole doing Raw.
I miss Joe Tessitore.
Yeah.
And Wade. Because I feel like Michael Cole is much better in the Triple H era than he was, for nearly 2 decades that he was doing WWE commentary. But he still does sound like a soundboard at times. Graves, I think, since going to SmackDown, has become even worse. Now that he's back on color commentary, it's even worse sounding like a soundboard now. Felt like they weren't even there. And I know they were, because I saw them there.
Felt like it was all done in post.
That's it. If you'd have told me it was like SmackDown in 2000 where everyone is just brought back in to re-record lines, I'd have totally believed you.
This match was, of course, presented by Red One, as was many of the matches and segments on this show. Red One is the Christmas movie starring J.K. Simmons as Buff Santa, The Rock, and Chris Evans.
And a polar bear.
Who plays the polar bear?
The polar bear.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
There's a snowman in one of the clips as well, who's just a giant guy made of ice.
Yeah, odd to release this Christmas movie mid-November.
It's confidence.
What it felt like, because I actually don't know who the studio is. It felt like it's a studio with a streaming platform. They were like, we'll release this in November because then it can be on the streaming platform for Christmas.
And then technically eligible for awards. So that's it's weird to see The Rock pop up.
Sorry, I'm sure that the studio who made Red One was like, aha, our awards contender.
Right, there's Oscar bait of the slate.
The Rock's like, I'm not sure this A24 one's going to work out for me. Can you put me forward for this one for your consideration?
It's a Christmas action movie, which I am interested in seeing for the concept for Chris Evans, who is like wildly overlooked as a comedic actor.
Absolutely,
because he's like Captain America. He just plays that. No, he's a really good comedic actor.
Not Another Teen Movie.
Yeah,
is one of the best movies that man has ever made.
The Red, I think the other movie Red.
Red,
he's in the movie Red. He's really funny in.
Red
and
One.
Is this a prequel?
Red One, me and Laurie were talking about this when we did Cineworld. I said it looks like a movie that would be featured in another movie that is making fun of these types of movies.
It's a 30 Rock skit about Christmas movie releases.
It looks like one of the end cards on 22 Jump Street like the future 22 Jump Street movies they're making.
And also just the behind the scenes gossip. Apparently, Rock's brother-in-law, who heads up the studio, who has no experience doing productions of this level, was in charge.
Yep.
And it sounds like a crap show.
And, speaking of crap the other way around.
A piss show, yeah. On all those bottles. Anyway, the match. Sorry, we're about 10 minutes in now. We've spoken about mustaches and Red One, which I think, is probably, as much as I enjoyed this episode, and as much as I enjoyed Crown Jewel, it's a bit safe right now.
And I think the winner of this Fatal 4-Way feels far too safe. This makes it feel like quite a filler feud. Because I think we're all expecting, the reports are that the Survivor Series World title match is Gunther versus Punk. And that's been on the docket for a little while. Punk said, I'm going to go away for a bit. Don't want to work Crown Jewel. Don't want to go to Saudi Arabia. I'm going to go away for a little bit. When I come back, I'm going for the World Heavyweight Championship. So kind of let you know, Punk versus Gunther is the future direction that we are heading. Not Braun. Punk versus Gunther is the direction that we're heading. So what Gunther kind of needs is a filler feud for Punk to come before Punk comes back. And I don't think we should be using Damian Priest in that role. But it does feel like a bit of a filler thing. And it also just feels like it's a backdrop for more Judgment Day drama.
Yes, well, that's it. It's a filler feud for Gunther, because really, this is the more important thing for Raw. It's Finn Balor to screw over Damian Priest in the Gunther match, given another Balor versus Priest match. Which I'm not engaged by. No.
But I suppose now that we can't have Liv versus Rhea for a few months, then we might as well have Judgment Day drama elsewhere.
Obviously, I don't want anyone to get injured, but man, there is a silver lining to that, isn't there?
It's every
Liv
cloud.
Morgan's got to feud with someone else. So this match actually was really fun.
Really good.
That like all 4 guys in there, which are, I said them already, didn't I? And they're all going at it, and they're having quite a lot of 4-way spots.
Yeah.
A bit like the triple threat at Crown Jewel. But I thought Sheamus was the most over.
Yeah, well, Sheamus was the one who felt like the weirdest guy in this match because he's been doing kind of like lower level feuds with Pete Dunne like prior to this. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's World Heavyweight Championship stuff. And it was only until Gunther's promo when he like kind of looked at Ludwig Kaiser and said, Sheamus. And I was like, oh yeah, the bangers that they had over the IC title. I'd actually be really into revisiting that over a bigger belt. I think that's a really great idea to do. Seth completely makes sense because he's Seth Rollins and he's just beaten Bronson Reed, which I hugely disagree with. Yeah, more on that in a bit. And Dominik Mysterio, who I had going into this match, has my odds-on favourite to win because of what they set up last week.
He qualified for this match. He beat Damian Priest in the main event of last week's Raw, and Damian Priest, the loser of that match, is also in this match. And I get it. Adam Pearce can sit there and go, well, the Judgment Day interfered in that match, which is why Damian Priest gets another shot here and Dominik Mysterio's in, right? Mm-hmm. I get that. That doesn't mean I have to like it.
No, but also you had... Last week, I thought you set up some really interesting ideas coming out of last week's show because you had Dominik Mysterio pinning Damian Priest. Dominik Mysterio versus Gunther. That is a
funny,
perfect filler feud for Gunther to spend some time with before going on to the bigger Punk feud. Love that. Mm-hmm. But also the jealousy of Balor. I couldn't beat Damian Priest. And I don't think you, Dominik Mysterio, could ever be World Heavyweight Champion. All of a sudden, Dominik Mysterio beats Damian Priest without Balor's help and is now going into a match with Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. That can be some really good, actually interesting Judgment Day drama that isn't based around Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley for a change. But we just gone right back to what we were doing previously, which is just like, no, Damian just beats Dominik Mysterio really quite easily in this match. Like Damian Priest, the finish of this match is Bronson Reed wipes out Damian Priest, gives him the tsunami, Dominik Mysterio hits the 619, and Damian Priest just stands up and hits the South of Heaven chokeslam and pins him.
Yeah.
So not only did it completely undermine Dom, kind of undermined Bronson Reed a little bit as well.
All that stuff from last week, where like you said, the Dom, the Finn Balor, the Judgment Day stuff. Oh, that's maybe Judgment Day is getting interesting again. And the idea of Dom versus Gunther is so funny. But it's not just the story they were telling from last week that means Dom should win. In this match layout, it was designed for Dom to get the victory.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that Bronson Reed interference spot. He is, of course, feuding with Seth Rollins. He tells Seth this isn't over. Seth has an interview earlier in the night where he's like, look, I'll go back to Bronson eventually, but I'm focused on the 4-way tonight. Very much telling us, oh yeah, we're gonna feud. But what was surprising is that Bronson didn't just go for Seth when he ran in. He was like, I'm just going to wipe out anything in my path because I'm a kaiju. Yeah. And that's what I've been doing for the last several months. So he takes out Seth. He takes out Sheamus and Damian Priest with Death Valley drivers in the ring. I thought, wow, this feels like a level of interference that's more substantial than usual. And then he gives them both tsunamis.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is the unhinged chaos of Bronson Reed from before.
All the while, Dominik Mysterio is out of the ring apron, just like peering over. It's like, is he gone? Is he gone? Wait until he is like left and is in the crowd before he gets back into the ring to try and take advantage.
And Bronson Reed then takes Seth outside, puts him on the announce table. Tsunami on Seth on the announce table. Like, this is great. Everyone is laid out apart from Dominik. And this is the perfect situation for Dom to then go scurry in. He tries the pin on Sheamus.
Here's this frog splash.
Oh, does he hit a frog splash? And then Priest breaks up the Sheamus pin. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. But then, like you said, yeah, Dom then hits the 619 on Priest, goes up for the splash, but when he comes down for the splash, Damian catches him with a South of Heaven for the win. Damian really sells that tsunami. Like, he barely gets the breakup of the pin, and as soon as he hits the South of Heaven, he is out. Like, that is a one-arm draped pin. And I think if this is another character, I would be like, awesome babyface booking. It's something about Priest at this stage and everything where he does feel like he's lost a lot of momentum being stuck in the Judgment Day vortex, where I either really wanted Dom to get that fun heel victory, and if you're going to give someone the babyface rub, because that is a great babyface rub spot, to you think the heel's going to do it, but actually the heel comes back at the end. The babyface comes back at the end. I kind of want Sheamus to do that. Because if Sheamus does that, we're all like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This was surprising. We're getting Sheamus versus Gunther. Or, oh, wow, we're getting Dom versus Gunther. But no, I feel like WWE in the last week has gone for the least interesting option. Not a bad option.
Yes.
The least interesting option.
And then we said this earlier. We were kind of just talking about this. It's picking the safe option. So it's like, oh, we could do some dissension and tease a split of Jade and Bianca. Nah, we'll just keep them together. Oh, we could do. No, we'll just have Seth beat Bronson, and then Bronson can stand up at the end, which I do think is. You may as well just have Bronson win then. Also, I didn't get to do the Crown Jewel review.
LA Knight not dropping the belt.
Yeah, I didn't get to do the Crown Jewel review, but the Bronson Seth one was the one that annoyed me the most because you had an actual story going into this, which is that Bronson took him out and he had a bad back and he wasn't going to be able to really compete. And then his back was fine. He was doing dives and then he won. And then Bronson just stands up at the end. I'm like, well, you may as well just have Bronson win. And then Seth comes into this match not selling the back whatsoever. No. So what was the point of doing the angle last week then? Like, it was literally pointless.
Yeah.
It was just for the sake of doing it and filling time on TV. And so he wasn't my interesting pick for this either. Sheamus wasn't going in, but throughout like the Gunther's promo and the match itself became my guy. But off the back of last week, I was like, I think Dom should win here. Sheamus wouldn't have felt like a filler feud. I feel that feels like almost like a fairly, because that's got such great history to it.
Well, I don't think anyone's going to believe Sheamus is winning.
No.
But that is the kind of filler feud that I'm on board with.
Yeah, I suppose.
That's like, Sheamus versus Gunther. Perfect Royal Rumble title defense.
Yeah. And even like it's pre-Survivor Series, which this might be, they'll do it sort of like advertise it for 2 weeks' time. Pre-Survivor Series. And it's funny as well because when Priest had that promo where he said, I'm going to go back for the World Heavyweight Championship, you and I sat here on the studio and said, like, I don't see where you fit into the picture at the moment. Because, like, it's not, like, it's all about Crown Jewel. And then after that, it's Punk. And I don't know what you're going to do.
Goldberg as well.
There's Goldberg as well. It's like,
Bron Breakker was briefly in there.
You didn't feel like there was a place for Priest. And now Priest is going to be having a match with Gunther. And I'm kind of like, not that interested. And I wonder if it's because it's nothing to do with Priest. It's certainly nothing to do with Gunther. It's just because, like you say, I think I'm just expecting some interference. And we just go right back to a match that I really don't have any interest in.
I will say, unfortunately, Damian Priest in the last couple of months, I have gotten a bit fatigued with his character. Feel like he's been booked too strong.
Too strong.
I struggled to... Those hooks where he was a badass in the world title reign, I had hooks to get in there with him. But the last 2 months, same with Ripley, the Terror Twins they feel less over for me.
Yeah, for me personally.
They don't feel as interesting characters because they're a bit one-dimensional right now.
Rhea in particular, we talked about how like she was pushed so strong at the detriment of Liv Morgan, who now that Rhea Ripley's not around feels so incredibly weak off the Ripley feud. And then we're just going to be sitting around waiting for Ripley to come back with more of this Liv Morgan title run. And yeah, with Damian, the babyface turn for Damian, I thought did wonders for his World Heavyweight title run, which I thought got really good by the end. Like, this match with Gunther at SummerSlam was awesome. And that's the other thing. They're going to have a great match when they do eventually have this world title match. It's the one I'm interested in the least right now. One day, totally on board with you doing Damian Priest versus Gunther and Damian Priest going for the world title again, because I think you can easily heat that character up for me, personally. But it's not now. Now's not the time that I'm going to be interested in him going for the world title.
I feel like WWE, and I will say, I massively prefer this WWE to what we had pre-Levesque.
Of course.
But one thing it is missing is the occasional bit of crazy. Where, you just want something unpredictable to happen. And that, Levesque does sometimes do that. But yeah, I mean, I'm also going to argue to break up some tag teams in this review. It's like we've overcompensated. I want random stuff to happen that doesn't make sense to me, and I want tag teams to break up.
Yeah.
Which is like the opposite to what I would always say under Vince. Let's see what everyone says in the chat Gables, WrestleTalk.com/support. Send in your chats over there. We'll read out everyone over $5. Former mod Jalen says, I do want Dom to win the World Heavyweight Championship at some point in the future. Who do you think will be the champion he takes it from? Or do you think he will win Money in the Bank and cash in to win the title next year? Love you guys and your beautiful moustaches. Jam that jam.
Thank you very much. I know there's been a big push because Gorilla Position are on this train as well. It's like, oh yeah, Dom should win the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not on that level with Dominik yet, but Dominik versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, where Gunther just destroys him and chops him to death, that I'm completely on board with, because I think that's very interesting. Dom as world champion, not there yet.
Dom as United States champion?
Yes.
Give it to me.
Yeah. It's the Baron Corbin effect.
Yes.
You are excellent at a certain level, and that is absolutely fine. The Miz is great at a certain level, but once you go into that next level up, you're like, ooh, not sure you belong here.
Kazoo says, weird booking considering Gunther and Priest just got pinned last week. You'd think given he called his shot, Punk would be the next in line for a title shot. Gunther pins him while Priest settles his stuff with Judgment Day and then do the rematch at
Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Punk isn't the Survivor Series match. This is the Survivor Series match, and Punk and Gunther is the Saturday night's main event, semi-main event.
Or they're saving Punk and Gunther for the debut Raw on Netflix.
Not a bad shout.
Maybe, yeah, that's what they're... Punk's being saved for the next year. Demon Arc 117. I really hope this is just a side effect of the Saudi show, because the booking over the last week has felt very safe/complacent and thus boring. Fingers crossed that the build to Survivor Series, God, I'm going to say Survival Series every time, gets more interesting.
Yeah, we're in that. We had this last year with WWE. Like this, I feel like I'm started having flashbacks to last year now, when me and Dan were doing these reviews, being like, this is the same show every week. Like this is. The Triple H is just, I'm going into my warm cave and I'm bunkering down until January, when I'll come back out again and I'll start booking interesting things as we head towards WrestleMania.
So Triple H is a hibernating bear in your metaphor?
Yeah, he's a hibernating bear in the booking creative decisions.
Tiny glasses. And a sleepy hat.
Well, sometimes you got to get in the cave. It's the biggest cave you've ever seen. It's one of the best caves we've ever had. It's the biggest gate we've ever had for a cave. And, I think this time next year, we're just getting started.
How's the racial diversity in the cave?
I haven't read that book. I haven't seen those documents. I'm sure if Fightful said it, I don't believe him.
Mike says, although today's US presidential election has given me nothing but extreme anxiety, I can at least be happy knowing that Io Sky will be fighting for a championship. I don't think she'll end up winning, but that's the place on the card she belongs.
Yeah, that's a nice little lead-in for sort of the opening match for this show. But before we get into that, got a big shout-out to this episode's sponsor, Geology. Are you sitting at home there and thinking, man, I really wish I had a good skincare routine, but I don't really know where to start? Geology is where you need to start. Click the link in the video description down below, or scan the QR code. It's like the Wyatts up in here. Scan the QR code, and that will take you straight to where you need to be. Use the promo code WRESTLE70 to get 70% off your trial set. The way that it works is you take a little quiz, like a 30-second quiz online, and it will determine what you need from your skincare routine, and then it will give you everything that you need and a little card to let you when you should be using it, day or night, and how much you should be using of it. It literally is like holding your hand the entire way, which for someone like me, that is what I need. And I had a really bad skincare routine prior to Geology sponsoring us, like sort of 2-3 years ago. Now I'm in a much better skincare routine, and it is thanks to Geology, a multi-award winning service, loads of 5-star reviews. Go check them out. Click the link in the video description down below. Use that promo code WRESTLE70 to get 70% off your trial set.
We can moisturize our chins now.
Oh, and they need it. Because I'm doing a lot of because I don't shave a lot. So, fun fact about me, everyone, is the reason why I have a goatee beard is I can't grow hair on the side of my face. I can't grow it on my cheeks. I can only grow it in the middle of my face. That's why I settled for a goatee in the end. So it means I don't have to do a lot of shaving. I just have to I can get a razor and just I don't even have to get shaving cream. But that means I don't have any shaving cream in the house when I've been doing this. So all this has just been dry shaving.
Oh my God.
I know. And I've been doing it every day because I don't want to get too stubbly and then I have to like tear myself apart.
Buy some shaving foam.
Well, I know, but the point I was going to make is this is making my chin feel so much better using this wonderful... Because it's like it's making me like not feel like I'm red raw in the face.
Yeah, well, that's good. That geology is great, but you should get some shaving foam.
I'm going to buy some on the way home today. I also need to buy some new razors as well because I'm pretty sure mine are blunt.
This episode of Raw came from Riyadh, Canada, as we've already said. And you got Judgment Day shown they're arriving backstage, or in the car park area. Everyone's safe when they arrive. Just later on in the show that they get attacked.
Yeah, when night falls.
Dominik Mysterio, the heel Judgment Day faction. Dom's holding a very cute little ginger cat.
Now, you are a cat man. You love a cat, don't you?
Yeah, I'm a cat guy.
Yeah.
Dogs can do one. So do you know what this cat is? Liv Morgan spoke about it on the press conference after the show. Famous heel who emotionally cries at everything in a nice, sweet way.
Yeah, when she cried when she won that belt. When she came out, I was like, oh, you're so winning that title, aren't you?
And Liv also revealed in that press conference that she has adopted a stray cat.
Oh, isn't that nice?
What a heel. Like, street trash, I thought was meant to be a heel thing, not a mission statement to help adopt stray cats. So I'm just like, this... I get cats are cute, but don't have the heels.
Yeah. Look.
Looking so good with the cats.
I understand your point. However, there's a cat in my estate who keeps taking a little dump on my front lawn.
Really?
Yeah. And so... I actually think that cats should be criminalized. And owning one is a criminal offense. I also feel that any dog owner who does not clean up their dog mess should just be thrown in jail with no trial. Because you're clearly a wrong-un. And I think that your actions are evidence of that. So into prison you go. And I've got no cat owners. They're not in control of cats because cats are assholes, quite famously so. So I'm not looking to put the cat owners in prison, just the cats themselves.
Here's a thought for everyone to ponder. All that poop on the street, not all of it is from dogs and cats.
Well, no.
Some of it's human poop.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was in Hastings over the weekend for my anniversary. Not the weekend gone, the weekend previous. I walked up some stairs, and I'm pretty sure I did walk past some human poo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of it's from guys.
Yeah. I mean, these ones are definitely not... These are not human poos. I live in a nice area. These aren't human poos. These are definitely cat poos. And I think I know which cat it is as well.
Liv Morgan opens the show. She comes out, and she's saying in an in-ring promo that her revenge tour is now an international tour. She's taken out Rhea Ripley... And this brings out Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. They came down to challenge Liv and Raquel to a fight. And Liv starts saying, well, the tag team titles are the only things keeping you two together. And Bianca, one day, Jade is going to stab you in the back. To which Bianca slapped the taste out of Liv's face.
So, yeah, she certainly did.
So, I don't really feel like WWE have shown us anything that there is dissension or tension between Bianca and Jade.
Well, they have accidentally hit each other with moves.
Yes, but they seem to behave as though they both know that was a miscommunication and a mistake.
But that is Levesque booking.
But everyone, Corey Graves on commentary, Liv Morgan here, they're like, wow, they hate each other, these two. I'm like, they don't. They clearly get on well.
Well, they are the heels. And like they're just saying heelish things to try and wind up the baby faces. Like she is just trying to there's not really much dissension between. There's not really much dissension between Bianca and Jade, but Liv and Raquel are trying to stir up some tension because next week they're going to have a tag title match.
Yeah.
So they're looking to hope that our mind games that we're doing are going to be able to lead us to winning back those tag titles that Rhea Ripley stole from us.
Totally fine mind games to play about 4 months ago. I want some actual dissension now.
That's Levesque booking. I said this on 3 Count. They're going to break up the week before WrestleMania, and that will build their WrestleMania match.
I'll build a SummerSlam match. Bianca lays out Liv, like I said, and Adam Pearce has made his way down to the ring by this point, who took an RKO on Crown Jewel in the sort of melee between Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Where's the neck brace?
He's a former NWA World Champion.
Yeah, but Jim Cornette this. Like, wear a neck brace for a month. I fantasy booked with Dan Layton. I was like, well, you know what this means? We're going to get a Team Pearce versus Team Aldis Survivor Series match.
Yeah, or
no mention of that here.
No, well, it's not the show for it.
It's the show after the pay-per-view.
Yeah, save that for next week's show.
Adam Pearce should be like, oh, I need a drink.
I've been struggling to drink because of the neck brace.
The trauma. But he announced that there's going to be a battle royal to decide the new #1 container for the women's title, and it's going to start right now.
Adam Pearce was a bit of a master at this because he's like, there's going to be a battle royal tonight. Hooray! And that's not all. The tag team champions are in it. Hooray! And that's not all. It starts right now. And then Damage Control come out as well.
Yeah. I won't go through all the eliminations, but there are a bunch of people in there. Maxine eliminated Ivy Nile because there's a bit of a feud there. And Zelina Vega eliminated...
So there's
Maxine was eliminated by Ivy Nile.
Yes.
And then Zelina eliminated Nile.
The feud between American Alpha... No. Yes, Alpha Academy and American Made is over.
And the LWO.
No, because the American Made have now moved to a feud with the LWO. All the stuff with their Alpha Academy is done. Like, that's over now. So when she did that elimination, they were like, oh, those former friends.
Yes.
But that wasn't part of their feud or anything. The feud is out now between Ivy Nile and Zelina Vega.
Katana Chance did a fun handstand thing in the break that we got a replay of. Kairi Sane was eliminated by the dominating Pure Fusion Collective. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I just figured Damage Control and the Powerbuff Girls will be into the end to sort of further that tag feud. But I feel like that's moved on now.
Well, yeah, they're moving on now to Liv and Raquel to Judgment Day.
And Kairi had to be eliminated here. So it wasn't like Io didn't have to eliminate Kairi.
Completely,
Does that make sense? The final 4 were Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria, Belair, and Cargill. And again, it's like, okay, right. Are we going to get something interesting here? Cargill and Belair are finally going to have to go against each other.
We did get that. Because they threw their, like, so Cargill and Belair fighting with Io and Lyra, they both throw them over the top ropes, kind of thinking that they eliminated them. And then they did, like, they almost did the Rock Hogan stare down moment where they looked at each other and be like, we're going to have to throw it down in the ring now. And then Io and Lyra got back in to cut that off. So that is, that is tease #1 of, it's sort of like 1.3 from, if you consider all the dissension stuff, that will then lead to the WrestleMania match.
Yeah, it's unfolding way too slowly for me. When we get to the fireworks factory already. And also the we're baby faces. I've eliminated you. No, I'm not going to visually check you are eliminated. I'm just going to turn back round and look at my... I'm like, this. You're losing me. This is too much nonsense to serve the spot rather than the story. But then, and quite a cool spot, I think it's Raquel who grabs Bianca's long braid, and she's like trying to pull her over the top rope by the braid.
Yeah, it's no disqualifications.
And Liv gets in and chucks both Jade and Bianca out. Comes down to Io, and they chase them out through the crowd. Comes down to Io Sky and Lyra Valkyria. They're battling on the apron, and Io hits a German suplex on Lyra Valkyria, which eliminates Lyra. But Io remains in the back bridge on the apron, and she is just shaking with celebration.
I was overjoyed at this result. You mentioned earlier, like, the silver lining. Yeah. It sucks that Rhea has got another injury. Do you know she's only had 2 matches on Raw this year? And one of those was on January 1st. Wow. And the other one was the tag match with her and Tiffany.
But she's squashed so many people.
But it's in promo segments. Yeah. Because obviously she was injured for a good portion of that. So it sucks that she's injured again. Silver lining. Io Sky's getting a world title match, so it's actually a bit of a thumbs up for me. Like overall thumbs up. It's a net positive.
I think obviously Io Sky is great, but I've enjoyed her so much in the tag matches the last month. So she's like my favorite women's wrestler in WWE. So happy about that. Mm-hmm. Hopefully she doesn't just get fed to the Judgment Day machine. We are backstage and Kathy Kelly?
Yeah,
Kathy Kelly is talking to the New Day, and Woods reveals that he spoke to the the War Raiders. That was a genuine slip up there. It's going to take a while. That one's sticking more than loads of others. Like, I never think Walter anymore.
You don't go to Butch.
Yeah. But Viking Raiders is seared in there. And Woods says, well, I went up to the War Raiders and said Chad Gable interfered. Do you want to put that number one contendership you won on the line against us? And apparently the War Raiders were like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected that from the War Raiders.
Honorable Vikings.
But Kofi said, well, that wasn't the only reason we lost. The reason we lost is because you got distracted from this move that I wanted you to do.
I still think Woods was right.
Woods was like, I had to take up. But we don't get a conclusion to that argument. Shh! There's a VHS interruption. Miz has been kidnapped. And it's one of those VHS tapes. I thought it was performed and filmed expertly. He's on a wooden chair. He's got the thing over his mouth. And Uncle Howdy Bo Dallas is talking to him with the camera. And he says, we were never interested in the Final Testament.
Yeah, because Miz is like, look, I'm not even in the Final Testament. It's those guys that you want. It's like, we don't want them. It's you we're after.
And then Howdy said that we will return you to dust. And then what was actually quite a scary ending. It's just a wide shot of Miz in this chair. And out of the darkness, I think it was Dexter Lumis.
Yeah.
Walks forward and it looks like he breaks his neck.
You were wondering who is going to be, Auntie Howdy. Now you know it's the Miz. He's the new member of the Wyatt Six.
There was also a very brief shot at the start of this, which was a clip of like 2018, 2019 Raw, where the Miz is saying to Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, back then the B team, I'm going to make you stars.
That's a wonderful callback. Really, really nice. Wyatt's feuding with The Miz is such a step down from them feuding with American Made, which was like a fine introductory feud. But I think there's a lot to mine from The Miz's history, which does include Bray Wyatt, that you can probably do some fairly good, compelling VHS stuff. When it comes to the match, I'm not actually interested in seeing them have a wrestle, but the VHS tapes I think will be really good.
I feel like The Miz and Final Testament feels like a step down. But weirdly, just The Miz does feel more important than American Alpha, whatever they are.
I think I disagree. I think it feels more of I think it feels a step down from.
But Miz is like definitely name value wise way bigger than any of the people we just covered.
I guess it's position, isn't it? Like maybe you're right. Maybe I'm carrying some baggage in all of this, but I feel like name recognition, perhaps. I just feel like it's stature on the card. This feels like quite a big step down from Chad Gable and friends. But I do think do you think we'll get Curtis Axel back for like a? What's he doing these days?
I wouldn't mind a little Curtis Axel cameo in all of this.
What's he doing? So I'll go on the cage match and I'll find out.
Do you want a theory? I read a theory.
Oh, I'd love one.
So I think I'm getting this right. Chad Gable was Bo Dallas's last match in WWE before he left.
Is that so?
And who was The Miz's last feud? Sorry, who was Dexter Lumis's last feud with? I've given the answer. The Miz.
Huh.
So maybe we've looked at this.
That's right. He was his hired henchman.
And what did he want to do? He wanted to kidnap The Miz. And what have they done here? They've kidnapped The Miz.
Uh-huh.
So maybe there's actually been a bit of misdirection and we're just looking at it, they're targeting people who have broken up factions and friends. But maybe it's unfinished business with feuds from before.
Could be. I think actually tying together stuff that's, when they had those matches, this was not the plan. But they can look back and be like, well, we did do this, so why don't we incorporate that into the story? I think that's really nice. Curtis Axel, by the way, his last match was in February 2020.
Right, so, yeah, well, pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
And
Crikey,
he
it
got
was
released.
pre-pandemic. Yeah, he got lost to Danielson.
We got a recap of Goldberg's retirement announcement after that. So probably, say, Netflix, Gunther stuff there.
Apparently, he's a producer.
Oh, he works for WWE.
That's what this person here says.
Then we got the New Day versus the Viking Raiders. This was a fun match. Most of it was in commercial break, so what you really saw was Kofi fires up after the commercial break with a hot tag, and Kofi's about to hit the Trouble in Paradise, but Woods blind tags himself in. Kofi stops, looks at him, is like, what are you doing? And that brief moment of dissension sort of let the War Raiders get in, and they pinned Woods to win.
We also announced that there's an upcoming episode of Raw, which is the 10-year anniversary edition New Day. It's the New Day special, basically. So one of the episodes of Raw coming up in the next few weeks is going to be dedicated to the New Day. So that is where we will get to our next real big step in this story. But I've been so enjoying this.
Yeah. I've seen people go, well, Woods was massively in the wrong here. But I'm like, but that is a normal thing for cohesive tag teams to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kofi hits his finisher, or like Kofi's on top, Woods blind tags himself in, Kofi hits his finisher, Woods hits his finisher, makes the pin as the legal man while Kofi stops anyone breaking it up.
Absolutely.
But it was that they're not on the same page.
And not on the same page. It was like,
that's
wait.
the problem.
Exactly.
There was a announcement of the Road to WrestleMania Europe tour, where SmackDown is in London on my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's a SmackDown TV tape. So maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, go for your birthday.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes might welcome me into the ring.
Well, he might be on Raw at that point.
No. Then we get the best thing on the show.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn comes out. He spoke Arabic to Big Pop from the Saudi crowd. Then Jey Uso comes out, says, thank you for saving me, but I've got to know 100%, did you boot Roman in the face by accident, or was it on purpose?
And Jimmy comes out and he was like, of course it was on purpose. Like, look at him. This is what he does. He always has a problem for us. He definitely did it on purpose. I'm pissed. Roman is really pissed about this. And Sami
Can't be trusted.
Can't be trusted. And then Sami has this great monologue where he just points out, it's like, okay, you brought me into this family, so like, thank you very much when I really needed you, but you were the first person to turn on me, you were the first person to turn on Roman, and you were the first person to turn on Jey.
Like, Jimmy's track record is terrible here.
And Jimmy's like, yeah, but I'm family, so...
And then Sami says, like, look, you aren't a bad guy, Jimmy. You make bad decisions. And I must admit, when we were all together in the ring, it felt special. It felt like the old times. And he was like, I can't do it.
I'm not going to be put on trial again. I've already been put on trial by you guys.
Like, literally.
Yeah.
That was a literal great segment. And then Sami gets out the ring. He's walking off. And Jey says, look, please, Sami, come to SmackDown this Friday and we can talk about this as a family.
Yeah.
And Jimmy says, he's not family. And Jey says, he is family. You're Jimmy Uso, I'm Jey Uso, and he is Sami Uso. Excellent dialogue,
really
delivery,
so
emotion, and like, I don't feel like we've had the big Bloodline segment for a while, but I'm really excited for SmackDown now.
This is the one that I'm looking forward to. Like I said last week, it felt like this feud has all of a sudden hit the fast forward button, and like from like Raw to SmackDown to Crown Jewel, really felt like we did like 2 months worth of story in 3 episodes of television. But this, like next week, I'm so excited for this episode of SmackDown. What I loved about this Sami promo, aside from that, like I'm not going to be put on trial by you guys again, pointing out all of Jimmy's transgressions. It was saying to Jey Uso, not to Jimmy, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And it's to Jey specifically. It's like not to Jimmy, to be like to Jey, I know that you kind of would like me to be involved in all of this and you need my help in order to take on this new bloodline, but I can't do this. I appreciate that you've gone back. Yeah. I can't.
He didn't ask about the Solo Sokoa parking lot meeting.
Well, yeah, that's, but that was for the hug on Crown Jewel. So that bit's been sorted out.
But why was he speaking to Solo?
Just parking lots, isn't it? He just speaks to people there sometimes.
What happens in the parking lot stays in the parking lot.
Yeah, it was just there to be a nice little red herring so that when they do the hug at Crown Jewel...
Oh, so it was purely just to swerve people. It didn't actually make sense with anything long term.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand.
Yeah. If the storyline had been started 2 months ago when it should have done, then maybe that moment might have meant something more.
I got cut in the third draft. Dragon Lee then took on Chad Gable, and they had an absolute banger.
Sorry,
this was great.
I've written here, Jackie interviews Seth looking like a massive prick.
I've written the bad guy from Zoolander.
But yeah, this Dragon Lee Chad Gable match, this ruled. Talk about like a cold match, because it's Dragon Lee, it's Chad Gable. Just throw them out there, and they just
they are feuding.
Yeah, but it's not like, it doesn't feel like feels like he's more feuding with Mysterio than he is Dragon Lee. Yeah. But like this felt like by the end of it, this crowd were so hot for both guys. Dragon Lee came out to crickets. Chad Gable came out to some "you suck" chants. But it was just like there was no heat for this whatsoever. And they just put on an absolute banger. So that at the end of it, this crowd were so into it. This like completely raised Dragon Lee's stock, which has needed to have been raised for quite some time.
The turning point was when they're both on the apron and Lee runs at Chad Gable and Chad just back body drops him over his head and Lee goes flying off the camera.
Yeah.
And then like, we're going to break. And you get that slow motion version of Dragon Lee flipping over and it comes back and there. Lee hits a double stomp off the top rope. Chad is like, he gets some really vicious whip on his moves. He did this throwing belly to belly suplex into the turnbuckles. This is awesome chant. Series of German suplexes. Chad pops up and he brings down the straps.
Yeah, he did the German suplex no sell. So I'm sure those people that really hated Ishii's match on Collision will have or as I say, hated that match, hated that 3-second clip they saw from the Collision match, will be really upset about this.
Lee hits a sit-out powerbomb and Corey Graves references Jushin Thunder Liger. A top rope superplex. Yep. But then Chad gets his feet on the ropes for a pin. Zelina Vega knocks them off. Ivy Nile chokes out Zelina Vega. This brings Rey Mysterio out to check on Vega. Chad grabs Rey Mysterio. Rey kicks Chad, letting Dragon Lee get the win.
Yeah, he hits the Operation Dragon for the win. A superb match. I really enjoyed how Rey Mysterio didn't run down for the save, but he sauntered down for the save. Like, yada. Oh, what is going on here then? Right, I've got to come and sort this out. I'm just going to wander down.
Yeah, I suppose it's difficult because you don't want to like run down and scare off Ivy Nile. You've got to balance that. Well, I'm here to protect our woman. I don't want to look like I'm chasing a woman. I'm a baby face here.
I think you meant more like he doesn't want to run down because here's what happened to Adam Cole.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I mean, like it was weirdly like one of the best 2-hour Raws they've done.
Yeah.
In terms of pacing, spinning all the plates, stuff progressed. But the stuff that progressed did feel very safe.
Just before we came down here, Dave Bradshaw said, like, how was Raw this week? And I said, it was a taped show. and this felt like a taped show. Like, it was good, but it wasn't like, you need to go out of your way to see this. And that kind of is like Q4 WWE sometimes, unfortunately. The last thing we to mention was that Gunther backstage promo that he had, where kind of shows some dissension between him and Ludwig Kaiser, because Jackie said, oh, Cody beat you. And Ludwig Kaiser like, oh, Cody just got lucky, you know. And Gunther cuts him off and he's like, no. He didn't get lucky. He was the better man on that night. And I lost to the better man. As the World Heavyweight Champion, that means I now have to step up. We both have to step up now. And I'm like, this is my Gunther. This is what I want from Gunther as World Heavyweight Champion. Not someone who's like, tell me about your father. Or like, hey, you, I'm not from around here, so you're American, ergo, boo. Yeah. Like lazy heel stereotypes. This is a much more interesting character. The fighting champion who is, I'm an honorable guy, the ring is sacred, and I will defend this world title, and I will bring honor to this belt and to this sport. And I think it's so much more interesting. And when he looked at Ludwig Kaiser, because Ludwig Kaiser was like, I don't like this. I don't want you, my champion, to be like I just lost. But it's a difference of morals and ethics and stuff. I thought this was really, really great. And I'm actually really looking forward to a Gunther Kaiser match.
Yeah, Gunther also, shook Cody's hand at the end of Crown Jewel when Cody won. I feel like this isn't going to go in that. I would love it to go in the direction you just described. I feel like it's going to go more in the, but next week he's back to being the I like Bill Goldberg, Bret Hart sort of character.
I mean, maybe.
We'll see.
Do you know what I'd actually really like for Gunther's WrestleMania matches, him and Kaiser?
That's not a WrestleMania main event.
Could be. You built a Kaiser enough.
I don't think so. Not next year. We have not got any Patreon shout-outs yet. Those will come later in the week. But overall, I gave this episode 71%, I think.
Yeah, that's a fine episode.
Please, of course, go support us on Patreon and check out Geology. But also, go over to our Movember Just Giving page. The link should be in the video description below. Or if not, the mods will hopefully be spamming it in the chat right now. And donate over there. If you donate and you send proof of your donation and a picture of your own moustache, if you're doing a moustache Movember 2, and send it to support@WrestleTalk.com, you will get your own moustache break in the WrestleTalk news.
It's huge.
Wow.
Editor Wes, however, has requested that if you are going to send your pictures, don't try and crop off the top of your head. Get a full
full
face.
head needs to be in.
Yeah.
Right, remaining chat Gables, last call for those, WrestleTalk.com/support. Rafael Garcia says, I think this justified me wanting Reed to win. I would rather see Gunther Bronson than Gunther Damian, and I like Damian. Also, it was good seeing Kurt Angle, even though he shrunk. How dare Brutus choose matrimony over Chad Gable? Cheers to him.
Yeah, like Chad Gable was full on Kurt Angle attire.
Do you think the Saudi prince requested that?
I want Kurt Angle on this show. He won't know the difference.
Kevin! Bronson Reed can attack 3 men in the main event, and Pearce has the audacity to tell Nick to control his show. If there's a Team Pearce versus Team Aldis, I don't even know who would want to represent him. Also, he drinks on the job. Terrible GM.
I would love, if it is Team Aldis and Team Pearce, Pearce has to try and recruit all the people that he's been trying to... So he's got to go to Bron Breakker and be like, I know we've had our differences, but I need you on my team. Bronson Reed, I know we've had our differences, but I need you on my team. And he basically he gets like his kaiju division, and that's his team.
And then Aldis has got like Legado del Fantasma.
Well, it'd be Knight, Andrade, and Mello trying to get them all onto the same page, and the Street Profits.
Demon Arc 117. I think that they're hesitant to break up Cargill and Belair because it might expose Cargill. She has not gotten better in the ring. They're afraid that singles Cargill is a failed investment.
Yeah, well, if only she got better training.
It's weird like how unspecial Jade feels these days.
That was a joke from me, by the way. That was their comment about why they felt they had to put Jade into a tag team because she didn't have enough. She didn't have sufficient training while in AEW.
I thought Lash Legend came off looking better
at
Crown Jewel than Cargill.
It's actually a bit of a testament to the developmental system, which Jade completely bypassed. But I agree with you. She doesn't feel that special anymore. She just feels like another body on the roster.
Anonymous says, Jade and Bianca is working. We have been asking for these belts to matter, and for the first time, I want to say maybe ever, I care. I don't think they're overpushed. I've seen Bianca lose, so they don't seem unbeatable. Don't force the split. It will come. But when, Anonymous? When?
It will come. I don't know if them being together means the belts mean more.
I find them one-dimensional. I said that about Bianca before she became a team. I was like, I feel like she needs a heel turn soon.
I think the belts, for me, would have meant more if they hadn't have lost them for that brief period of time to the Unholy Union.
Yeah.
And then just won them back.
Cameron P1 says, hey lads, I just wanted to chat to say while I haven't been watching Raw or SmackDown as of late, as I've been very creatively unfulfilled in the shows, I never miss a podcast. See you Thursday.
Hey.
Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you.
Mike says, coming back in to say that studios always release Christmas movies in mid to late November. If you release it on Christmas, it will have 0 legs, as no one cares about Christmas after December 25th.
People still release Christmas movies in around at the start of December.
Yeah, start December, like mid-December, probably the latest. Lexi Connie, today's video was shocking. Luke with a moustache came out of nowhere, and we definitely did not see it happen last week. What a swerve.
So, peeling back the curtains, I did this on Friday. We recorded that little bit, and I did the shave on Friday. I got home. My wife and I had our dinner together. She went up to bed because she had to get up early the following day. So I stayed downstairs, got myself a little glass of wine, and I was like, I'm going to watch Penguin. So I put an episode of The Penguin on, and I had this feeling. I was like, I need to check Twitter.
It's the first of a month on a Friday.
So I went on Twitter, and sure enough, I saw people have been released, and I was like, so pop my glass, press pause on Penguin, put my wine glass down, try and set up my living room. And the second I was back, and I'd forgotten all about this, set the camera up, saw my own face in my phone and went, oh no, this is going to ruin the reveal.
We were, because of course we were teasing the thing last week, and I shaved on Thursday.
Yes.
I shaved on Thursday, filmed my bits to go in the news episode the next morning. And Wes, the editor, was like, what if, someone dies? What if a legend passes away and we have to report on that? And I've just got the moustache for no... Because we would drop the moustache break on that episode.
Yeah.
But there I am with a moustache. Well, thank God. The big news for that day was Cody and Roman's backstage heat. Kevin says, I can't wait for the day that someone genuinely calls out Ollie for container and somewhere Canada, thinking he made a mistake. Also, nice moustache that I definitely never saw before, Luke. Have a nice day, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
And
I'm pretty sure people do call you out for that. Sometimes missing the joke.
People are catching on to the Canada one now.
Yes.
Plasma PT says, finally, hey guys, I'd honestly booked Sheamus to be the #1 contender because I figured Damian and Dom would have fought themselves out of the match, and then Bronson Reed shows up to attack Seth, but only one happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, let's check in on the poll.
Indeed. It's another low one, but it is thumbs up. It is 58% thumbs up, 33% in the middle.
Yeah. Bit of a mid-show.
Doesn't
mean it's a negative show, but a mid-show. Well, that's all we've got time for today. Please go over and check out Geology. The link's in the video description below, and there is a QR code on screen right there to get your own beautifully soft face. And also go check out the WrestleTalk News over on the WrestleTalk channel, which has a story about Jacob Fatu and that charity controversy he was involved in. But for now, I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen. DAD. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam.